out of all the Pinocchio versions I did see here and there, but the Disney one is the one I remember the most. For this version of Pinocchio, this one is pretty darn dark. But yet, it's the most saddest one of all. At least the best part about this version is there'll be no part where the little boys had transformed into donkeys. That's for sure. Well, anyway, hi ladies and dudes, this is Rebecca Lynn Barkley, aka Boobop 1987. This is my review for a day. And yeah, I guess you know what I look like right now. I got too much stressing going on with my mom. She annoys me too much, and she bothers me too much about some things here and there. And last night I did not get much sleep because she just called my cat Sadie way too much, and she was trying to get a snack, and I'm trying really hard to get some good proper sleep so I could get ready for work and all that stuff. So yeah, I had a very stressful week, well, a few days or so, if you know what I mean. But at least the brighter thing about doing this video today is I finally got another movie review at long last. And yeah, I would like to check out this movie one day, but sadly it came at Netflix. But it's a good idea. I found a copy of this film at long last. So for my next movie review is another version of Pinocchio. And yes, it featured the lovely stop motion. And this is a very nice looking film. But yeah, it's pretty darn dark and yet so darn sad at the same time. So without further ado, ladies and dudes, let's head on to my next movie review of Pinocchio that featured that director dude who did Crimson Creek, you know which movie I'm talking about, and also The Shape of Water. Yeah, that director dude again, if you know what I mean. So yep, let's head on to this next movie review. So, what should I say about the main plot of the story? Yeah, it took place in the 1900s. There is a woodcutter named Geppetto who is a happy-go-lucky man for all of his life, and he wants to take care of his beloved son named Carlo, who, you know, likes to be there by his side and do some fun things with him here and there. And yes, until one day where his father has to, you know, finish the wooden version of Jesus, and they're just getting ready to come home to their workshop and have hot chocolate and all that stuff. Poor Geppetto had lost his son because there was a war going on, and one of the bombs went to the church and they let that poor little boy die. And yeah, Geppetto never been the same again. He became alcoholic, he became drunk, and he just can't stop thinking about his son's death. And yeah, until one night he chopped a tree in his son's grave and also created his new puppet named Pinocchio. And that's where the whole entire storyline begins. You know, story about Pinocchio's life. You know, learn what's right or wrong, and you gotta learn not to lie about things, and also don't get involved with strangers. Well, if you know the Pinocchio storyline that well, if you pay attention to any other versions of the Pinocchio storyline. Well, if you know what I mean. So anyway, that's my whole entire main plot of the story of the other version of Pinocchio. And I guess everybody wants to know is, what the heck do I think about this movie? Well, to tell you the truth is, ladies and dudes, I really did enjoy this movie. This is a very good movie to watch. And I will say, this is the best version we ever have for the Pinocchio franchise. I mean, this movie is pretty darn well done and pretty well detailed. I mean, this is a great movie to watch. And yeah, this movie came from Netflix. It's a sad shame this movie didn't came out in theaters. It would have been nice if this movie came out in theaters, and we will love to see this movie even more. This is the best version we ever have for the Pinocchio storyline. Yeah. I will say it had a very well done storyline, likable characters, fantastic voice cast, great stop motion animation, and it has great lessons to learn. And yeah, it had so many good changes here and there for this movie. So yep, this is a very darn well done movie indeed. And no wonder this is the very first stop motion film that won an Oscar for Best Animated Feature. And it deserves it. That's for sure. So anyway, ladies and dudes, let's head on to the strongest points and the weakest points for this movie. For my weakest points of the movie, I have 0. I have no weak points at all for this movie. 0, zip, none. And I will say for the strongest point of the movie, I will say it has to go to the main beginning of the storyline. I will say the first 10 minutes of the film is pretty well done, pretty well detailed, pretty well fast paced, and I love every single moment of it for the main beginning of the whole entire Pinocchio storyline. You know, it's a story about Geppetto's life. He was a happy-go-lucky person. He really loved his son very much, and he likes to play around with his son many times. And you know, he was just a happy-go-lucky person, and he will love to have his son for all eternity, I guess. I mean, there was a lot of cute and fun moments between the father and the son until that very sad day when Geppetto had lost his beloved boy. And yes, I fell in love with Ewan McGregor's narration for the story, you know, and he's known as the Cricket. I mean, his voice had fit so perfectly for the main beginning of the film. And since he did a beginning part in Moulin Rouge, if anybody remember that Moulin Rouge film where he did narrate the story, and he's going to tell you everything about all the things that happened from the past year ago when Christian became a part of the Moulin Rouge's world, I guess. And yeah, this movie did the same thing for Pinocchio. This is where that Sebastian dude, not Jiminy, it's just Sebastian. Sebastian's going to tell everybody and everyone the whole entire storyline about Geppetto and Pinocchio and everything else that's going on in his very own world. I mean, I just love the main beginning of the whole entire film. It just blew my mind. That's for sure. So I will say for the strongest point of the movie is really the main beginning. And now let's go on to the characters. I will go with Geppetto, played by this actor I really don't know of. I think I heard his voice somewhere, but I can't remember where. Yep, that's him with his beloved boy Pinocchio. I really love this version of Geppetto very darn much. And I really, really do feel so sorry for him for losing the one and only person that he ever cared about in his whole entire life, his beloved Carlo. Yeah, his storyline was pretty darn sad and very darn simple. And he's trying really, really hard to have a new life with his wooden puppet. And yeah, I remember in the beginning and the middle of the storyline, they didn't get along so well. And yeah, in the third act of the movie, he finally found a way to get along with his little wooden puppet all the way through to the end. Hard for me to say, and I can't see the picture of Sebastian. This, you know, the whole entire main picture itself. Yeah, the next character I want to talk about is Sebastian, played by our dear beloved Ewan McGregor. And yes, an interesting fun fact about Ewan McGregor, he can sing. He's a very good singer, and he has one of the most beautiful voices I have ever heard my whole entire life. He is such a fantastic singer. And yes, he did sing a couple of songs. No, he did only one song in the movie, but an interesting fun fact about Ewan McGregor, he did a couple of movies here and there where he can do a couple of songs in a couple of films. He did Moulin Rouge and the Down with Love, and there was another song that he did. He did a British film, I forgot the name of it, and also the remake of Beauty and the Beast. I mean, he's such a great singer. He has the most greatest voice ever, and I really love the song that he did for the end credits. It just blew me away from start to finish. And yeah, I fell in love with his character named Sebastian. He is a fantastic character. I will say he had a very good storyline. He has a great personality, great attitude. He did his best to try to get along with Pinocchio in some parts here and there. And he did his best to be his conscience. Just like Jiminy Cricket. Jiminy Cricket did the best he could to be Pinocchio's conscience from the Disney version of Pinocchio. I mean, he's a very, very fun character to watch, and I just love this guy from start to finish. What else I could say? And now, here's my final thoughts of Pinocchio. Overall, this version of Pinocchio is really the best version that we ever had for so many years. And the best part I love about this movie, well, since I love the beginning part of the film, at least there's no scene where the little boys had transformed into donkeys. Thank goodness for that. That was too darn scary for my taste. So overall, this is the best version we ever had for so many years. It had a well done storyline, fantastic voice cast, great stop motion animation. It had a really good score. And the characters are enjoyable as well. And yeah, like I said, this movie is pretty darn dark and yet pretty darn sad at the same time. That's for sure. So I decided to give this movie a perfect high rating score of 10 out of 10. Enough said. And that's my whole entire movie review of Pinocchio. I hope you enjoy it. And join me next time for a few more movie reviews to come. Hopefully for the rest of the year. I would like to try Poor Things and The Beekeeper. I did found those the two movies at the library. And maybe one day I'll go ahead and get it whenever I get back to the library. So I can do my next movie reviews to come for the rest of the year, so I swear to that. And I'll be back for more videos to come, hopefully in the fall. Cross my fingers to that. So, I'll see you all later, and sayonara.